Let's take a look at this speech, or not a speech. She was reporting on a channel, Emily Schrader. Let's see what she has to say.
Well, as reported once again, the UN has used what little remains of its credibility to focus on, wait for it, yep, you guessed it, Israel. The report was riddled with inaccuracies and unfounded accusations against Israel. But in the interest of time, allow me to break it down to three of the core problems in this report. First, it puts a sovereign democratic nation state on the same legal footing as a terrorist organization and equates the...
Okay, so the first thing that I have noticed is that she mentioned Israel as sovereign democratic nation. And that is absolutely lie, because if you take a look at the UN resolution, for example, this one, take a look at this one, an occupying force has no right to self-defense against the occupied. First of all, it must be remembered that Israel is officially an occupying power, and its presence in the Palestinian territories is illegal under UN Security Council Resolution 242 that was adopted in 1967. So when Emily Schrader, she said that Israel is a democratic nation, state, she's absolutely mistaken. So instead of correcting UN report, she really needs to fact check what she's saying.
As a terrorist organization, and equates the legal right to use self-defense with a barbaric, unprovoked, ISIS-style terror attack targeting civilians. Even if Israel acted wrongly, there is no legal or moral basis or equivalence between Israel and Hamas.
Okay, so if Israel, even if Israel is doing something wrong, this is what she said. What kind of wrong are we talking here about? Well, the wrong for her is just a wrong. It's not a big deal. But take a look at this particular speech from this person. He's from Ireland. He's an MP there. See how she is painting what is wrong, according to Emily.
The European Union makes clear its determination, if you like, to stand against Putin's barbaric actions in Ukraine. Then you look at what is happening today in Gaza, or in the last few days. 4 schools attacked, 29 killed in just one attack in a school. As we speak, Israel is issuing evacuation orders for the whole of Gaza City, again. The determination which Europe displays when it comes to action on Ukraine is sadly missing, is it not? When this is going on for 9 months, schools being blasted. Lancet's report is terrifying. Lancet is saying, when you look at the devastation to schools, to power, to water, to electricity, the real death toll is likely to hit in the region of 186,000 people. Famine conditions, ethnic cleansing, no action. None. Words. Words. Now I ask, at what point do we just give up and say the European Union is just hypocritical, riddled with double standards, and has no intention whatsoever of doing anything to stop Israel, which they could do? Europe is Israel's biggest trade partner. Weapons flow to Israel from Europe. Many of the states give political support to it. When is Europe going to use the power?
186,000 people are dead. And Emily is saying, if Israel did anything wrong, well, killing 186,000 is not just wrong. It is a genocide. It is a mass slaughter. This is what it is right now. So Emily, you are absolutely lunatic. You're a genocide maniac. Now let's take a listen to what she has to say.
Israel and Hamas. There are no both sides because they are not part of the same equation. Every life matters, but legally even civilian casualties are not the same as victims of terrorism. The conflation of the two is unacceptable and irresponsible, especially for a body like the UN. Second, this report accuses Israel of extermination, as if the IDF intended to commit a genocide and eradicate the Palestinian people. This is a shameful lie and one easily disproven by looking at the casualties thus far. The estimate of civilian to combatant ratios is roughly 1 to 1.
Okay, so if it is 1 to 1, the ratio, then there should be at least 94,000 Hamas resistance force should be dead. So 186,000 are dead. So if the ratio is 1 to 1, so at least 90 or 95, 98,000 militants from the resistance force should be dead. But how many militants or Hamas members are getting killed? Almost none. Very few. But how many civilians, how many people in Gaza are getting killed? Well, you guessed it right. Hundreds of them every single day. And the number is increasing. So how can Emily say the ratio is 1-to-1? I mean, doesn't she know basic math? She obviously doesn't. I mean, these people are absolute sellouts. So this is so pathetic. I mean, so painful for me to watch her talking. But I do it so that you do not have to.
If the goal was extermination, you would see an astronomically higher number of civilian casualties. Palestinian civilians are not and have not been targeted. Israeli civilians, however, were. Let's not forget the fact that militarily Israel is well within its ability to commit a genocide that is...
Okay, so Israel is not, military is not targeting civilians. Since 1967, 750,000 to 1 million Palestinians were being arrested by IDF. Since October 7, 2023, 5,200 civilians are in Israeli custody. They are being held hostage and they are being detained. Out of 5,200, 170 of them are children. Since this war started from October, just in matter of 1 month, end of November, the number of casualties and hostages, not the casualties, the hostages that Israel has taken from Palestinian civilians reached to 10,000. From October 23, 5,200 to November 23, 10,000. And Emily here is saying, no, IDF is not targeting civilians. How pathetic.
Let's not forget the fact that militarily Israel is well within its ability to commit a genocide that is not and has never been the goal of the IDF in this war or in any other. Third, the report accuses both the IDF and Hamas of sexual violence as a method of war. They're proof that the IDF strip-searched terrorists. Meanwhile, Hamas raided a music festival for the purpose of sexual assault, murder, and kidnapping, and then tortured, mutilated, and gang-raped Israeli civilians. Do those
Number one is that she did not mention the Hannibal Directive, where the most of the casualties on October 7th came from Israel itself. And number two, the sexual violence, take a look at this number here. It came from UN itself, and UN confirmed. Obviously, Emily doesn't believe in UN, but we do, because the United Nations, they have a lot of countries who are finding facts, who are not like US or UK making things up. UN, they are saying that the sexual violence is part of IDF procedures. UN is saying that this is part of IDF procedures. The guard in Israeli prison who are holding these Palestinians captive, they commit sexual deviance every single day. And there are multiple reports. I'm not going to quote anybody because you will not believe me and you will not trust those sources. So I'm quoting UN directly. So you trust UN, right? Because Netanyahu looks like he trusts UN. That's why he goes to UN and he shows the map of Iran and bombs and all that. Remember the maps? So I'm quoting UN, and they are saying that this is IDF's procedure, that they will commit sexual violence against the Palestinians. And obviously there are so many other things that UN pointed out, but for a bratty woman like Emily, this all doesn't obviously make sense to her and lies.
Sound at all similar to you? Now, as a woman, I truly cannot be silent in response to these outrageous accusations and attempt at moral equivalence. It's an insult to every victim of sexual assault and rape.
Absolutely, Emily, absolutely. It's an insult. How could you even compare what Israel is doing with anybody for that matter, not just Hamas, but with anybody in history, in human history? What Israel is doing is unparalleled, unprecedented, unheard of. This is the level of genocide, oppression they're committing in Gaza. But obviously Emily doesn't believe all of this. She really needs to go to a mental doctor. This bratty woman, she needs to check her pulses, mentally, physically, if she is alive or is she dead. I mean, spiritually she's dead, but she really needs to get some real help. She needs help. She doesn't need to read reports. She needs to go to a hospital and get admitted immediately.